cyclone in Odisha and Bengal. So that landfall currently continues. The cyclone is entering toward the land area, and in Odisha, specifically the coastal area, the coastal belt for Odisha and Bengal is where the landfall has started to happen. It's the Cyclone Dana. For the next 1 to 2 hours, it will continue. What does that mean? That means strong winds, constant downpour, heavy rainfall, heavy to very heavy rainfall can happen in areas like this. It is likely to move nearly west and northwestward across North Odisha and could possibly eventually weaken also, as we have seen in the past few years with the cyclones in Odisha. But this time period is very crucial. Massive evacuation plans and precautionary measures have been taken by the administration. But remember that Odisha is one state that has some very solid experience. It's in fact, the reputation is very high in managing the cyclones and has been able to have a certain plan in place. And yet each time, remember, it's nature after all. Therefore, all measures are being taken. Let's listen in to the reactions that have come in on this.
Now it is about 15 kilometers north of Dhamra and 30 kilometers northwest of Habelikhati camp. That is in Bhitarkanika. And now the current intensity is severe cyclonic storm and wind speed is about 100 to 110 km per hour, gusting to 120 km per hour. And the landfall process would continue for next 1 to 2 hours. It is likely to move nearly west-northwestward across North Odisha and weaken gradually into a cyclonic storm.
So let's go on the ground, exactly where this landfall is happening right now, Dhamra in Odisha. Anupam, how was the night like? What kind of downpour, landfall is taking place? Have the administration made enough arrangements? I can see strong winds around you, and I understand, Anupam, I've reported from cyclonic areas. It's not easy at all. Be careful, be safe. Tell me more.
Well, Pooja, it's very difficult to stand here as the wind speed is around 100 to 110 kilometers, gusting to 120 kilometers, and rain is also happening here. And let me tell you, the landfall process is continuing at the moment at Dhamra, and I am at Dhamra, and you can see conditions behind me here, and right now the tail of the storm, the rear portion of the storm is passing through this region. There are 3 sections of a storm. Front section had already entered at around 11:30 in the night, and then eye of the storm that has already passed, and this is the rear portion, the tail of the storm, which is passing, and it will continue. The landfall process will continue till 1 to 2 hours. After that, it will gradually weaken into a cyclonic storm. Right now, it is a severe cyclonic storm,
okay.
And so far the news we are getting that several trees have been uprooted, several lampposts, several signboards have been uprooted in Bhadrak city, in Dhamra, in Bhitarkanika, and in several coastal areas. But so far we have not received any information about casualty, and we know that zero casualty policy has been adopted by Odisha government for the past few years, and the process is very simple: to evacuate maximum number of people from the coastal areas, especially people living in kacha houses. Those people who have been living in kacha houses have to be evacuated and have to be taken into a cyclone center, and that is what Odisha government is doing for the past few years, and that is the success story of the Odisha government and as well as Bengal government, that they have been able to evacuate the vulnerable people from low-lying areas in adequate time and before the landfall of the cyclone. And this comes with the new technology and advanced technology by the Met department, and they are predicting accurately the path of the cyclone, the timing of the cyclone, so that the administration is getting time to do all these things. So this is what is happening.
So can we say, Anupam, can we say even the next 12 to 24 hours in Odisha, in Bengal along the coast is going to be still very difficult, because the strong winds around you suggest that it's not getting over anytime soon?
Exactly, Pooja. The strong winds will continue for at least 4 to 5 hours, and it will weaken. When it will weaken into cyclonic storm, the wind speed will reduce, but it will not reduce as much because right now the wind speed is around 100 to 110 kilometers,
Yes.
gusting to 120 kilometers. But by noon, we are hoping that the wind speed will reduce to at least 50 or 60 kilometers per hour, and by evening it will subside, or it will at least weaken into a condition where people can move from one place to another place. So, but one more thing is there, that is that is the rain this cyclone is bringing with it. Right now, it's raining heavily
Yes.
at Damra near Bhadrak.
Anupam, I just have a
near,
quick question before I let you go. I understand it's not the most convenient locations to be reporting from. What about the government plans? Because unlike, let's say, earlier the BJD government that had this massive experience over decades, for BJP government it's also a new test, right? It's for the first time. Then the government in Odisha. So how have been the plans like? Is there a pattern set that the new government is following? What are they saying about the arrangements right now?
Exactly, the government is new, but the officers are old and they know how to handle these situations. They are handling these situations for the past so many years, and they have successfully handling these cyclones for the past 3-4 years with minimizing the casualties. So officers are on the ground, NDRF, SDRF teams are on the ground, especially at strategic points they have been placed so that they can move if anything happens, like any big destruction happens, so they can move. Ministers are already on the ground, and you can see the wind is picking up here, and this is the gusting speed, which is extremely dangerous, and this is the gusting speed which destroys, uproots trees and signboards. So this is the condition here, but I think Odisha government is experienced enough to handle these kind of situations right now, and they have already handled much more severe and extremely severe cyclones in the past, like Foni and Titli and Hudhud. And this is a severe cyclone, not extremely or heavy severe cyclone, so it can be handled very carefully and very well by Odisha government.
Anupam, to you and your video journalist, getting us this report. It's not easy, remember, to be reporting from these locations. People have been evacuated from there, and yet India Today is there to help you understand about what first-hand the cyclonic storm is looking like. Anupam, take care. I'll come back to you in just a short while. Strong winds, constant downpour there in Odisha, and eventually it depends on the next at least 5 to 10 hours what the impact of the landfall is going to be. So let's listen in again to the Met Department officials. What are they saying about what is the speed of the cyclonic storm? Is it going to decrease or will it escalate?
Now it is about 15 kilometer north of Dhamra and 30 kilometer northwest of Habeli camp. That is in Bhitarkanika. And now the current intensity is severe cyclonic storm, and wind speed is about 100 to 110 km per hour, gusting to 120 km per hour. And the landfall process would continue for next 1 to 2 hours. It is likely to move nearly west-northwestward across North Odisha and weaken gradually into a cyclonic storm.